It's true for beer as well. Welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Book Hunting. This is episode 5 of an ongoing series that I'm doing detailing some of the interesting finds I have as an amateur book hunter. Um, as you may know, if you've seen any of my other videos, for many years I hunted books for my own personal collection. I still do that a little bit, but for the most part now, my collecting is geared towards finding interesting books for friends, and as well as helping supply the Hatter Bookshop in Princeton, West Virginia. And I've am fortunate that I have a vocation that causes me to travel a good bit, and so I have a fairly decent sized territory to hunt for books. And in doing so, just a few days ago, I came across um, this book, Vampire Stories of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This was part of a fill a bag for $1 sale that I encountered at a public library not too far from here. And this book presented me with a very interesting revelation. Um, Arthur Conan Doyle, of course, is most well known for writing the Sherlock Holmes stories, 58 short stories and 4 novels. Um, 3 of those stories are collected in here, and I was a bit surprised, although I should not have been, that the 3 stories in here are Sherlock Holmes stories that are vampiric in theme. They feature either concepts or ideas from classic vampire stories. There are also 9 other stories in here that are not Sherlock Holmes stories, but all have vampire story themes or creatures. Um, like I say, an interesting book. I'm going to read all of the Sherlock Holmes stories before I donate it. This will be going to the Hatter Bookshop very soon. In fact, probably by the time you're seeing this video, it'll already be there. Um, but just to show you a little bit about, uh, well, documenting, I guess, my interest in Holmes stories, I'm going to show you what I already have as short stories and novels. First, I have this nice Signet classic of probably the most popular and famous Sherlock Holmes novel, Hound of the Baskervilles. And I do enjoy these little Signet classics. Very durable for a mass market, and generally I like the art and illustrations for these. This is no exception. That looks very gloomy appropriate for the Hound of the Baskervilles. Um, in this volume from, I believe, Impress Mystery Club editions, 2 of the Doyle Sherlock Holmes novels, Sign of the Four and The Valley of Fear. The only novel I do not have a copy of is A Study in Scarlet, which is, of course, also the first Sherlock Holmes novel, and I believe story. And I've known for a long time I'd like to get that one as well, but, just haven't found it in an edition that I liked or wanted. I have 4 out of 5 of the short story collections. First, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes in a nice Reader's Digest Classics edition. And just to let you know, I avoided these for a long, long time. That is Reader's Digest Classics, because I thought they were abridgments, much like the popular Reader's Digest condensed books. But they are not. This is the entire text of whatever work they're covering, unabridged, often illustrated, but in a very nice binding. They look good on a shelf. But this is how I have this one and a couple of the other collections. This, of course, collects the first, I think, 12 or 13 stories of the 58 that Doyle wrote about Holmes. And it's followed chronologically by the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, which ends with the story where Doyle attempts to kill off Holmes, pushes him over the edge. Reichenbach falls in a mortal battle with Professor Moriarty. Doyle was hoping to kill off the character so he wouldn't have to write about him anymore. And of course, We know now Doyle got captured by a character he created. Um, when we think about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, we do not think about Light Company or The Lost World or any of his science fiction or adventure stories. We think about Sherlock Holmes almost invariably. Um, after that, we have after Doyle was unsuccessful in keeping Holmes dead, the collection, The Return of Sherlock Holmes, once again in one of these very nice Reader's Digest classic editions. The fourth collection is The Last Bow. Uh, well, the smallest one, I believe. It only has 7 stories in it. And this is, let's see. Oh, and this is actually a British edition. It's priced in pounds. £9 and 99 pence. And I guarantee it's one of the very few British editions I have of anything. And that leads me to the one book I do not have that I really want, and that is the Case Book of Sherlock Holmes, which compiles the last 12 Sherlock Holmes stories, including the 3 vampire stories that are found in here. And I've always known that I wanted it, but didn't know how much I wanted it until I found this new book. Um, and I'm going to enter into very mild spoiler territory here about the Sherlock Holmes canon. Just to give you a brief description of the vampire stories in this book. The first, I believe, is The Sussex Vampire, which is a very Holmesian story. The client thinks that they're facing a supernatural problem, and Holmes, being the rational empiricist that he is, a man of science and deductive reasoning, uh, is certain that it has a more material cause, and he turns out to be correct. Um, the next story is the uh, the Three Gables, which has some vampiric themes. Um, no actual vampires though. And the third story is The Illustrious Client, and the vampiric themes in that one are actual, at least in story, use of mesmerism or hypnotism of an individual who is attempting to control the actions and thoughts of some of the people in the stories. And in each case, of course, Holmes is called upon to confront and discover these mysteries. Um, some of the other stories in the collection involve a story called Parasite, which involves the story of a vampire who uh, uh, siphons off the psychic or mental energy of its victims. Uh, one I'll probably read for it because it just sounds so intriguing. Captain of the Pole Star, which is the story of an Eskimo-like vampire that does not take the blood of its victims, but sustains itself by stealing another creature's body heat. And finally, The American's Tale, which is about a vampiric plant discovered in some far off corner of the globe. All in all, like I said, very interesting thing to find and very educational for me. And once again, by the time that you're seeing this video, it will be at the Hatter Bookshop in Princeton, West Virginia. Uh, I got a feeling this one will not last long. It's just too odd and intriguing to last very long. Anybody who's a fan of vampire stories or Sherlock Holmes is going to be thrilled to have this. And in any event, I'll leave you there. Thank you for viewing, and I'll talk to you again soon.